In 2020, global oil prices experienced unprecedented volatility. Prices plummeted from over $60 a barrel at the beginning of the year to less than $20 in April. The plunge in oil prices has been like an economic storm, severely impacting countries that rely on oil exports, and Iraq is one of the hardest-hit countries. According to statistics, the Iraqi economy has plummeted from a growth rate of 4.4% in 2019 to -10.9% in 2020, as if it has fallen from the top of the mountain to the bottom. In addition, the sharp deterioration of the economy has led to soaring unemployment and pushed millions of Iraqis into poverty. In order to help Iraq tide over the difficulties, China North Industries' Zhenhua Petroleum company signed a 5-year oil contract with Iraq worth a total of $14 billion. At the time, the agreement brought significant changes to Iraq. Recently, however, things have changed dramatically. Iraq actually unilaterally announced that it would freeze the supply contract with Zhenhua Petroleum. What is the reason behind this blatant violation of allies? Iraq is located in Southwest Asia and the northeast of the Arabian Peninsula, with a total area of 438,000 square kilometers and a population of approximately 38 million. It is one of the 4 ancient civilizations in the world. But did you know that what really makes Iraq world famous is not its status as one of the 4 ancient civilizations in the world, but its oil resources? The Persian Gulf, located between the Iranian Plateau and the Arabian Peninsula, contains more than half of the world's proven oil reserves. The discovery of oil resources in the Persian Gulf quickly triggered a large-scale development boom in neighboring countries. As a close neighbor of this resource treasure house, Iraq has naturally become one of the biggest beneficiaries. As of 1988, Iraq's oil reserves had reached 112.5 billion barrels, ranking second in the world. Today, Iraq's proven oil reserves exceed 150 billion barrels, second only to Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, and Iran. These abundant oil resources have become the backbone of Iraq's economy, accounting for 2/3 of the country's GDP and 94% of its total export revenue. Thanks to the prosperity of the oil industry, Iraq's per capita GDP once reached the level of developed countries, and its people lived a comfortable and prosperous life. However, the abundance of resources does not bring permanent peace. Without strong military support, Iraq cannot enjoy this abundance for a long time. Since the United States launched the war against Iraq, Iraq's economic development has regressed for decades, and its former glory no longer exists. The global epidemic in 2020 has made things worse, international trade has come to a standstill, and oil prices have plummeted from more than $60 per barrel to less than $20. The low price of exported oil and the cessation of exports have cut off Iraq's economic sources, causing economic losses of tens of billions of dollars in Iraq every year, and social conflicts are increasingly intensifying. At this time, China Zhenhua Oil signed a 5-year oil contract with Iraq. According to the agreement, China will purchase a total of $14 billion worth of oil at a price of $50 per barrel. The contract stipulates that the agreement will officially take effect on March 1, 2021, when Iraq will supply 16.5 million barrels of oil to China per month to meet the annual supply of 200 million barrels in the contract. To ensure the smooth progress of the cooperation, China paid an advance payment of up to $2 billion in advance shortly after the contract was signed. But unexpectedly, less than a year after the contract was executed, Iraq unilaterally announced the freezing of the supply contract with Zhenhua Oil. What happened behind this? There is a complex background behind this decision. In 2020, the global epidemic caused oil prices to plummet, and Iraq's economy was severely hit. Problems such as aging infrastructure, lack of public services, and high unemployment all require a lot of money to solve. The contract signed with China was originally intended to stabilize the economy and obtain much-needed funds. But as time went on, global oil prices began to rise all the way, from $50 per barrel to around $70. At the current market price of $70, Iraq will pay $20 more than the contract price for each barrel of oil it exports. Assuming Iraq exports 4 million barrels of oil per day, the monthly loss will be as high as $2.4 billion, and the annual loss will be even more staggering. Continuing to fulfill the contract with China is an unbearable burden for a country whose economic situation is already precarious. In desperation, the Iraqi government had to unilaterally terminate the contract, hoping to save the economy by selling oil at a higher market price. So, will Iraq's move have an impact on China? According to statistics, China imported about 563.99 million tons of crude oil in 2023, equivalent to an average of about 11.28 million barrels per day. This figure is 11% higher than the import volume in 2022, showing that China's demand for oil continues to grow. However, China's oil imports are not from a single source, but have established long-term trade relations with multiple countries. For example, Russia supplies China with 18.3% of its imported crude oil each year, with a total value of about $94 billion. Saudi Arabia accounts for 10.7% of the share, with a total value of about $55 billion. It is precisely because of these diversified supply channels that, despite the short-term inconvenience caused by Iraq's move, China's strong import network and diversified supply strategy enable it to quickly adjust and obtain the required energy from other suppliers to ensure the stable development of the domestic economy. But Iraq's move is unfriendly after all, so how does China view this matter? According to the survey, China and Iraq have established diplomatic relations for 66 years. During the 11 years of the Belt and Road Initiative, many cooperations have been reached in areas such as oil. For example, in 2021, China and Iraq cooperated in a number of energy projects, including the construction of a new refinery in Basra province and the modernization of existing oil facilities. These projects not only increased Iraq's oil production capacity, but also provided China with more energy sources. By 2022, Chinese companies' investment in Iraq has further increased, involving not only the oil sector, but also natural gas extraction and processing projects. China National Chemical Corporation, in cooperation with the Iraqi National Oil Company, launched a large-scale natural gas field development project. In addition, China has helped Iraq establish a series of renewable energy projects, promoting the diversification of Iraq's energy structure. Therefore, in June 2024, when the Iraqi media think tank group visited the headquarters of China National Petroleum Corporation, China was quite generous. After all, as a non-renewable resource, oil occupies an important position in the global economy, and every country needs oil very much. Therefore, China understands Iraq's situation and forgives Iraq's breach of contract.